Welcome, welcome. Today we are here with Julia from Love Luck Wealth. So Julia is a certified expert in money mindset, a chartered accountant for over 20 years and has experience in wealth management and feng shui, which I'm really interested to hear about. After going through her own personal divorce, Julia recognised that there was a difference between the way women need to be spoken to about money and finances, and as such, Love Luck Wealth was born. So since then, Julia has featured across a number of media outlets and publications, including Studio 10, Mamma Mia, the Sunday Telegraph and the Money Finance Mag, as well as the Kyle and Jackie O show. So welcome, Julia, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me, Karen. This is wonderful.
It's so great because I came across your work recently, to be honest, and there's a lot of experts offering financial advice and a lot of women speaking to women about finances, obviously all general in nature, as we know the drill. But what I found particularly interesting about you, Julia, was that you focus a lot around mindset, emotions, energy and feng shui. So can you perhaps share with us a little bit, because I'm really interested on this side of things.
Yeah.
I'm really interested. So can you share a little bit more about this notion of women and emotions and how this changes the game for us when we're talking about finances?
Yeah, well, for, hundreds and if not thousands of years, money has been the man's domain. And it's the whole finance industry has been built, not necessarily meaning to do this, but it's for men by men. And women have been left out of the equation until recently, right? Because when you think about it, women haven't been able to manage their own money up until even my lifetime. My mother couldn't manage her own money around the time I was born. And so it's all very new. And then the other, so I was a finance professional, and I had been through a divorce myself, and I realized that money is quite emotional, because it's one thing for me to advise my clients on how to invest their money, to build portfolios, to give business advice, but it's a whole other thing when you do it yourself. And this is why a lot of finance people and not necessarily great with their own finances, and even doctors are not necessarily great with their own health, because it is emotional, and it's very different when you give advice as opposed to receive it and put it in action. And I think going back to this concept of money being new to women, I think we need to remember that women are actually wired differently to men, and we make decisions about money differently. And I really do believe that's the missing link in helping women feel more confident with their managing their finances and building wealth. As you know, anyone can do this, anyone can build wealth, but for a lot of women, they don't even try, because of the fact that they have this underlying belief system that it's not for them, and that they're not going to be any good at it, even though they don't have any solid confirmation that that's actually true. It's a belief.
Yeah, that's so true, Julia. I actually had lunch with a few girlfriends not long ago, and one of them was saying that her husband wants to start looking at investment properties, but she isn't comfortable with it. She's, she said, I live a nice life and I don't want to have like extra baggage. And, what we were trying to explain to her is like, it's not extra baggage. It's actually going to like propel you forward, pardon the pun. But there's this like limitation set on herself that she it wasn't deserving of a better and bigger future. And we were sort of drilling it into her. We were all over the lunch table with a few wines, just going, no, this is not like, why do you have this mindset? Like, what is it that is restricting you? So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yes. So like for women, money represents safety. And I think that's something to keep in mind. And that's why they're hesitant to make choices around their finances and put things into action if they're not 100% certain of what it is and what the outcomes will be. And ironically, that's what makes women better investors than men. There's been a lot of studies to confirm that. But at the other end of that scale, the bad side is that we over analyze things and we procrastinate because we want it to be perfect, because we believe through this conditioning that we've had over generations that if we get money wrong, it's life threatening. Because you think about a woman who, has become a single mother unintentionally sort of 50, 60 years ago. That was a big deal, and she really her safety was on the line, and her ability to live the life that she wanted, and that still plays a role in our decision making today, even though we have a lot more. We have all these rights and we have equality and whatnot. There's still remnants of all these decisions from the past and all the conditioning, and that's what we need to remember.
Yeah, so we're a little bit risk adverse because of our history and what comes with that. So that's, very interesting. So obviously, Julia, you went through your own personal divorce, and you, as a finance expert yourself, you still obviously had some struggles, and I guess that's how you came to realise it was an emotional situation, the whole finance. So how did it impact you financially and emotionally?
Yeah, well, I had just left all the financial decisions up to my husband at the time, and we were both financial professionals. We met at work, and I stopped to raise our family, and he kept going with his career. And when I look back now, I think I should have stepped up and taken some financial decision-making responsibility. But as I said, this conditioning is that it's okay, that's a man's role anyway. I'll just focus on the children and let him make all the big decisions. But then, unfortunately, you get to a point where something happens in the marriage and you can't move forwards. And then all of a sudden you're on your own when it comes to finances. And for some women, it might have been sort of 10 to 15, 20 years since they have managed their own money. And even though I was a finance professional, and at the time when I got divorced, I went back into wealth management. I was dealing with portfolios of the super wealthy, but I was massively overwhelmed at making even the most basic decisions for my own finances. And I thought to myself, if I'm having trouble with this as a finance professional, how the hell is everyone else coping? And when you all know, whenever you're in stress, like divorce, or maybe you've had your spouse die, or maybe just some kind of illness has come through your family, it's very emotional, and you really do. Your IQ drops by almost half. That
You're
has been
already
scientific.
dealing with such a big life milestone, whether that is divorce or
Yeah.
illness or whatever, and then to throw in,
Mm.
while that's happening, you've now got to mortgage and this to kids' school
Yeah.
fees, whatever it is, or just
Yeah.
finding all the accounts and gathering all the information is overwhelming, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of emotional stuff involved. So I really do feel that, as I said, women are wired differently to men. Like, men are wired for power and to press forward and get things done, which is great. We need that in our men. But for women, we're wired to nurture and collaborate. That's just generally how most of us are. And when it comes to money, there hasn't been a template out there for doing money in a nurturing and collaborative way. It's always just make a decision, move forward, keep the emotion out of it, and just get it done. But that doesn't always sit right with women, and then they procrastinate. And I get a lot of financial advisors calling me saying, can you help me with my client to help her unlock this trauma that she has associated with this money, so that we can, so that she can actually hear the advice. Because when
Yeah.
you've got this wall up of like trauma and like just this protection wall, you don't even hear the advice. And it's all about just helping them to feel calm and know that everything's going to be okay, and understanding what their ideal life looks like, and getting them excited about managing their money for the first time maybe, and feeling the power that that brings them, because that money gives them ability to make choices, and
Yeah.
it can help them help other people in their life.
Yes, and trust the people around you who are, supporting your advice. And I guess that's another one, like rebuilding that trust, not handing over the reins to someone else to deal
Yeah.
with, but allowing them to help you in building your financial future, I guess, is one thing that I guess would come a
Yeah.
lot with it.
Yes, yes, exactly. And knowledge is power. And, you always want to surround yourself with people who have all this knowledge and can explain it to you properly. And
Yeah.
my philosophy is, if your advisor can't explain it to you properly, then you don't understand it, then they're not the right advisor for you. You need to find another one, right? Because you're the one in charge and they're working for you. So you need to, and a lot of women are subservient, part of that conditioning, they're very subservient. So they need to sort of step back into the reins and go, it's okay to ask for what I want. So yeah, knowing what they want is the hardest thing sometimes for these women, because they've never really put themselves first. They're always putting their family before them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess on from that, Julia.
Your one piece of advice for women who might currently be living in bliss, but not to say that it's all doomsday, but
Yeah.
should something
No,
happen
yeah.
in the future, what's your one bit of advice for them to consider now in their present life?
Oh, most definitely. You just know what's going on in your finances, like understand where things are, take part in financial decision making. Just like you can't leave all the love up to one partner in the relationship, you really shouldn't leave all the financial decision making up to one partner in the relationship. So
I
take
like that
part.
analogy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's okay for one person to be the breadwinner, but that doesn't mean the other person doesn't get to make decisions about how that money's spent. So remember, this is a partnership, and you really do want to make sure that you're moving forwards together, and that you're both feeling empowered. Because if something goes wrong, God forbid, we don't want that. But if that does, you need to be able to move fast. You need to know where things are. You need to know your rights. You need to be able to know what you want going forwards and make decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Julia, investing in recent months has clearly had its fair share of debates. Obviously, share markets are quite volatile, and banks folding in the US, interest rates increasing, property prices increasing. What are you currently seeing, or what are some of the trends that you're seeing amongst female, or all investors for that matter, who are looking to either grow or start their investment journey at the moment?
Yeah, well, I think the markets are always going to be volatile, and history shows that. But history also tells us that if you consistently invest at a similar time every month with a similar, amount, you're going to get a good diversification of entry to the market. So I think diversification is the key when you are investing in things like stock market, or even just investing in property,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. You need to diversify. So to me, that is the most important thing. There's lots of new emerging markets coming out there. You want to understand what your risk profile is, and whether you can stomach that sector dropping sort of 20 to 30% in 1 month, and how you're going to ride that out, because you don't want to necessarily sell when the market is low. You need to have that cash buffer at all times to be able to ride out these things. And history shows us that the market always generally recovers. And ever since stock market information has been recorded, you can see that it consistently goes up over time on average, although in the short term it's quite volatile, but that's a price you pay for the seat at the table. And property, it's considered a lot more safer by a lot of women because they understand it more. So this goes back to that need.
Tangible.
And that
Yeah.
perfectionism that women have, because money represents this safety factor to them. So that's very tangible for them. So sometimes that's something they can get their head around a lot easier. But you still need diversification within that, those property investments, and just diversification in general across all investments and all income sources.
Definitely. So diversification, and I think, having the long-term vision for all your investments is really key, isn't it?
Yes, and don't forget tax implications. It's always important to keep up to date with all of that, especially when you're considering large numbers. That's definitely a consideration.
Yes, so definitely have a good accountant on your side, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I was thinking about the name of your business, and it was Love, Luck, Wealth. So obviously, we understand love and we understand wealth, but I'm wondering, luck, do you consider yourself lucky, and is there such thing as luck?
I do believe there is such a thing as luck, but I think you can influence your luck, because the way I see it, luck can be broken up into 3 different components. There's earth luck, there's heaven luck, and there's human luck. So the human luck is like your motivation and your ability to just drive forwards and take action, know what you want and go after it, right? The heaven luck is where you're born, what sex you are when you're born, your family you grew up with, and all the conditioning you received. All of that stuff is out of your control. So that's heaven luck. So out of those 2 of the 3 so far, you can't control heaven luck. You can control human luck. And then the third one, which is obviously most of the time people don't know about it, that's the earth luck, which is where things like feng shui come in. Feng shui has been around for 6,000 years, really, ever since time was knowledge was starting to be recorded. And all of these principles of feng shui, they can be applied. It's really quite a lot of common sense, but sometimes we forget to apply this common sense because we're in it. We're in the moment. We're in the thick of it, and we don't have that perspective. So to me, feng shui is this missing component of luck, because you can influence your belief system and your ability to see opportunities in front of you by adjusting your surroundings. So there's lots of different ways you can do that. We need a whole podcast just on that. But most of it also is affected by, the colors you surround yourself with. And say, for example, today I'm wearing black because black to me represents, in feng shui, it represents creativity. So, and I see you're wearing black as well. So I would assume that you have quite a creative personality. You can tell a lot about people by the colors that they wear. I can walk into someone's home and tell you what's going on in their life or in their relationship, or their health, or their money, just by the way their home is set up.
Oh my gosh, come to my home. I want to know this.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So why aren't we applying this to money? Like, just because you can't necessarily measure the outcomes of this doesn't mean it doesn't work. We all know mindset is very powerful in when it comes to medicine and your health, but it's also very powerful in your money. and how you manage that money and how you spot opportunities to make more money. So I love to help women especially to open their mind to all the different opportunities that are before them. And I do that through energy, feng shui, mindset. And then to me, the financial component is really just the last 20% of how you build wealth.
Yeah. No, I love that because, as I said, I've come across, a number of women in your space, but you have this holistic view of like a real sort of alternative mindset, energy perspective, which I just find so fascinating. So, it's really interesting. So I'd like to kind of wrap it up, especially I like these sorts of questions, particularly to finance sort of experts. So if you were to win $10 million tomorrow, what would you do with it?
Wow, that's a great question. And I love this because this is exactly what everyone should be able to answer. So to me, I would be doing the same thing because this is what I love and I have purpose and fulfillment out of that. But I would also most importantly, put that money to work so that it continues making money from money and it builds and grows because money loves to work. And then I would also give a lot more free stuff away and scholarships and do a lot more philanthropic work by sharing my skill set and knowledge so that other less fortunate women can build wealth.
So Julia, you obviously run personalised sessions and online courses. Perhaps you could just run us quickly through what that entails, when they can join up and what any more information you have about it.
Yeah, I have a number of online courses. I have one on how to manage your cash flow better, and then another one on the feng shui component of how to activate abundance in your life. And then my signature program is called Money is Your Lover, which is all about being able to treat money as your lover. So have a relationship with money in that you plan for the future together, you have each other's back, and you feel really good about spending time on putting your money to work. So that's the one that includes a lot of mindset components and the energy component. And then also it has a component on how to invest, how to set up your cash flow systems. If you've got a business, how to scale it, and how to start a business as well, because this is the way to create unlimited sources of income. They're available at loveluckwealth.com. Just send me an email or at hello@loveluckwealth.com if you have any questions. Always happy to help. I do one-on-one sessions as well. So that's all available on the website.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Julia. It has been such a pleasure. And like I said, I'm super interested in all you have to say about energy and feng shui. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Karen. It's been wonderful to be here. And thank you for all the work you are doing too.